Hello, students of class 8. Let's do honeydew lesson Bepin Chaudhary's Lapse of Memory. A very interesting lesson. It is a humorous story, a journey of a man named Bepin who is made to believe himself sick. The story has a very surprise ending and it does carry a message also, a very strong one, strong message or lesson for the readers. Now let's summarize the lesson. Bepin Chaudhary's Lapse of Memory is an amusing story about an aged man named Bepin Chaudhary. The story was written by Satyajit Ray and was divided into 4 parts. Bepin is the main character of the story who had this habit of visiting bookstores and buying books of his interest. On one such visit, a man approached him and told him that he was his old acquaintance, Parimal Ghosh, from his Ranchi trip. Initially, Bepin was convinced that the man was confusing him with someone else. However, when Parimal divulged some personal details about Bepin, the latter was confused. He didn't have memory of such past incidents that the stranger was referring to, as he had never gone to Ranchi earlier. The man said that Dr. Dinesh Mukherjee was also there on the same trip with him. Further, he also told Bepin that he could confirm about this trip for Mr. Mukherjee directly. However, Bepin ignored this and continued with his life as usual. Later, the incident kept bothering him and he finally checked with Dinesh, who verified the authenticity of the story. This confused him even more since he didn't have any memory of visiting Ranchi in the past. Meanwhile, his school friend Chunni Lal would often visit him looking out for a job which Bepin would fairly ignore. In due course of time, Bepin started getting deeply worried as he felt he must have lost his memory. Hence, he sought a doctor's advice for his ailment. After checking Bepin, the doctor Paresh Chandra was puzzled as he had never seen a similar case before. Upon seeing Bepin's mental state, the doctor advised him to visit Ranchi and clarify his doubts himself. He thought that revisiting the same place might bring back Bepin's memories, which he assumed that he had forgotten. Listening to Dr. Chanda's advice, Bepin visited Ranchi with the hope of reviving his memory of past incidents, but to no avail. He returned to Calcutta, now called Kolkata, as the visit to Ranchi left him in a state of utter confusion. He called the doctor again. However, just before Dr. Paresh Chand arrived for a routine checkup, the servant brought Bepin a letter marked as urgent and confidential, which someone had left in the letter box. He opened the envelope and read the letter carefully. He discovered that his friend Chunni Lal had pranked him as a sweet revenge for not helping him when he was in dire need of a job. He mentioned that Bepin could have helped him, but he chose to avoid him. After reading the letter, Bepin was dejected and felt guilty for avoiding Chunni Lal when he asked for help. Finally, when Dr. Chanda arrived, Bepin lied to him, stating that he had revived his memories of his trip to Ranchi. Instead, he asked the physician to give him a painkiller for a pain in his hip. Children, with that we come to the conclusion of this story, and that is Bepin Chaudhary's Lapse of Memory teaches a moral lesson to students that we should help people in time of need, at least when we are in a position to help them. As the famous quote says, "As you sow, so shall you reap." So with that, we come to the end of this chapter. Now you can read the lesson yourself. I hope you got a complete understanding of the chapter through listening to this summary. Thank you. Have a nice day and happy reading.